I suppose I'm trying to persuade you to buy this book. It reminds me of an advertising slogan you used to see in the colour supplements at the back. When I used to flog these books, like the complete works of Jane Austen or Thackeray or something like that, and you could either have them in green or in red, and it was a kind of imitation leather. They used to call it Skivertex, luxurious Skivertex, and the sentence of the point of all this that actually applies to this, which I'm truly saying, is it speaks volumes for your discrimination as a reader and your taste as a decorator. Look at that book, right? It's full of pictures. As Zoe said, I mean, Zoe really wrote the book, although she was using is she the ghost writer, or am I the ghost object? Whatever, the book is definitely haunted. Anyway, I'll just explain how I got to be here. I was born in 1947 on Canvey Island, right in the Thames estuary. Canvey Island is in fact a reclaimed land. The Dutch built it in the 17th century. I was therefore actually born below sea level. What influence this submarine origins had, I don't know, right? And first thing I can remember is that in 1953 there was a disastrous a flood on Canvey Island. About 50 people got killed. The sea wall broke down one freezing night, and everybody was obviously evacuated from Canvey Island, and we went up to stay with relatives in Sheffield while they were drying Canvey Island out. When we arrived there, when it switched on I suppose it was already, did we walk in and switch it on? No, of course we didn't. It was already on, the wireless, you see. And what was on the wireless was this character called Wilfred Pickles, who used to be what do you call him, a television presenter or something, Wilfred Pickles. And he was at the refugee centre where all the evacuees from Canvey Island went. He said, I've got a little boy with me now, little Johnny Martin. Now, little Johnny Martin was later to find fame as the big figure, the drummer of Dr. Feelgood, right? But right there in 1953, Wilfred Pickles, he said, little Johnny Martin. And what are you going to do? Johnny Martin sung Me and My Teddy Bear. And so he was the first member of Dr. Feelgood to really make it in any kind of significant way. I carried on, and then I was a teenager, and one day at school I saw an electric guitar that I don't think somebody was probably making it in woodwork or something like that. But I saw this electric guitar and I was absolutely fascinated by it. I was just fascinated by it. I didn't know anything about music or anything like that, but I thought I've got to have one of these. I've got to have one of these things, and so I did. Now then, I'm left-handed. When I got my first guitar, I started to learn like this way round. This is in the days before Jimi Hendrix. It wasn't very groovy to play this way round, right? But I'm struggling, and I was useless. I mean, everybody at school could play better than me, and I was feeling like a bit of a fool. But I decided to change over and learn to play right-handed. It's very, very difficult to do, but I managed to do it. Then I'm starting to find out something about music, and then the Rolling Stones came out, very, very exciting, and I started to find out about American music and stuff like that. Also, I remember taking the day off school when the Stones' first album was released. We went to the record shop to buy this album, and I'm looking through the second-hand singles in there, and I found this single by Johnny Kidd and the Pirates, which features the guitar playing of Mick Green. And I remember we went around someone's house, and he spent the afternoon playing the Stones album, and it's really, really great, and really, really great. But I'm thinking, I like this Mick Green, his guitar. He has a sort of he had a kind of percussive style. to learn to play like that, right? And I tried and I tried to copy Mick, but I never could do it. But I ended up with my own style of playing, which is actually very, very simple. I'll just demonstrate it, if I may. Right. Anyone here who play the guitar, right, all familiar with this chord here, like this, right? Don't play it like that, you play it like that, right? That's the first 4 strings and your thumb over the top, right? That's a G. Now then, if you lift your fingers off and stop the strings, you get a punch, you see? And once you make your rhythms like that. Now then, right hand, you see, you can do it, but the right hand just going down, up, down, up, down. It's going like 8 in the bowl, right? Down, up, down, up, down, up, right? And if I sort of deaden the strings like that, I get this. Like that. But if you start sticking some chords in, you can get. This right hand is just going like that all the time. Believe me, I mean, all these old. That's the guitar style. I was playing in rock and roll bands while I was at school, and one thing I used to do also was I had this what we called a jug band, which was a kind of skiffle group. Me and my brother and another guy. I used to play the violin and the harmonica. And my brother used to play the banjo and the guitar, and the other fellow played the tea-chest, you know, you make a bass with a tea-chest and a broom handle and a length of rope, very good. We used to go and play down the seafront on Canvey Island, busking. And this is when I was about 18 years old. And then one day we were doing that, and these 3 boys came up. And they were about 13 years old, something like, which is really very, very young when you're 18, and they're like kids. But they're very interested in what we were doing. And then one of them in particular was asking all sorts of very fascinating, and this was in fact Lee Brillo. And that's when I first met him. He was like, as I say, 13 or 14, and I was 18. But this guy had such a, what do you say? He had a very vivid personality. And anyway, I remember this guy. And then, anyway, a little while after that, I went to university. I did take my guitar with me, and I put a notice up on the notice board. There's a band come from Southend called the Paramounts, right, who just about that time changed themselves into Procol Harum, and got this millstone called White Shade of Pale. Just before I went to university, Robin Trower, the guitarist, the Paramounts had broken up, and Gary Brooker had in fact recorded this White Shade of Pale. And around about that time, Robin Trower came knocking on my door, saying, "Listen, I've got me and Mickey Jupp. I want to start a band, and when you come, when you want to play the guitar with us." He was a bit patronising, actually. I said, and he said, this band is going to be called The Jam. Right? So, anyway, I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm actually going to university soon, so off I went to university. But when I got to the university, at the freshers' ball, who should be topping the bill but Procol Harum? So by this time, Robin Trower was in the band, right? At the Mayfair Ballroom in Newcastle. And I'm standing there in the freshers, and the band had this revolving stage. The revolving stage comes around, and Procol Harum come round, you know, like Procol Harum anyway. Robin Trower sees me standing there and nodded to me. So I'm made up. Like, I go, oh yeah, you know, I'm the guy that got nodded to by Procol Harum's guitar. and as I say, I brought my guitar with me, so I put a notice up on the notice board. pin it up, then it said a guitar player, ex-associate of Procol Harum. But I did not get one reply. So I took my guitar home, stuck it under the bed, and forgot all about it. Spent time at university, very interested in medieval literature actually. But to get on from there, after university, I, as a lot of people did, decided to go east. And really good, man. You could go down the road east. You go down from Yugoslavia, Turkey, Iran, Afghanistan, through the Khyber Pass, Pakistan, India, Nepal, down that road, right? And we had some good times there. And I remember, like, I've been in Afghanistan. Beautiful, great people, and all that. And we were dirty hippies, and we were very, very stoned, right? But we never massacred any wedding parties or sent drones in to kill people. Right? We didn't do that. We just. I think it will be generations before an Englishman can go to Kandahar and get stoned with the locals, and I think that's a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm out east, and when I came back, I thought, well, it's own up time now. I'm going to have to get a proper job. And in fact, my mum found me a job as an English teacher in a local comprehensive school. And almost at exactly the same moment, I'm walking down the road, and here comes Lee Brillo. And I knew that his jug band had become rather good, you see. He was a solicitor's clerk at the time, wearing a three-piece pinstripe suit. But, you know, toasty barnet. I mean, like, this guy looked good coming down the street, you know. I was still a bit of a hippie, me, but Lee comes in, Lee, he looked mean as anything, right? And we stand there, start to, man, how you going? And he's telling me about how this jug band's turned into a rock band, and I'm thinking, blimey, I've still got my guitar, you know what? And I think, is he going to ask me, you know? And he's talking about how their guitar players left, and they haven't got a guitarist, and I think, oh man, that's heavy, you know, and I'm thinking, and we must have talked about half an hour, and did not mention it. And later on that evening, Sparko came knocking on my door. He said, will you join our band? I said, yes. We started to rehearse. I said, we've got to be just like Johnny King the Pirates, right? And one of the songs we learned is a song called Dr. Feelgood. That's a good riff. And later on again that evening, Sparkman said, well, we decided to call the band Dr. Feelgood. I say, mate, well, actually it's been used before, you see, because this song was originally written by Willie Perryman, who then became known as Dr. Feelgood and the Interns from New Orleans. I said, you know, it's been used before, but I said, well, nobody on Canby Island's going to know. So we become Dr. Feelgood. And one of the things we did at that time was to, we used to back this character called Hines. Hines was somebody, he had a hit in the 60s called Just Like Eddie. And he used to get gigs at Teddy Boy clubs. And we get much more back in this character than what we could on our own back, right? But we had to play, you had to play all Eddie Cochran and God knows what. Anyway, somehow or another, Hinesy got this gig playing at 1972. There was this big rock and roll show in Wembley Stadium. I mean, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, Chuck Berry. It was a fantastic show. To start the show was a sort of banger English bands like Screaming Lord Sutch or like Hines, you see. But this was the early summer. I just quit doing this teaching job, and then I find myself. I'm standing up there, it's Wembley Stadium. And I think, it felt good to me, you know, and I think, you know, wow, you know, I was teaching last week, and now, same sort of thing, I suppose, making a fool of yourself in front of a crowd of irresponsible people. But anyway, we're doing this show, and then a thing happened to me where you're underneath the stage, and I go walking out from under the stage to see what's going on. Blam, there's this band. I think, you know, what's this band? I can see they're Americans just because they look like it. And then anyway, I quickly realised it was the MC5. I saw Wayne Kramer, the guitarist, right? He was dressed all in black, and he had a golden face like Tutankhamun. And the room guitarist was all silver, and this Rob Tyler was singing with a big afro, right? And Wayne Kramer's. It was a revelation how the Teddy Boys, of course, didn't like it. You know, they want 20 Flight Rock and nothing else, right? And you see MC5 doing Ramblin' Rose and that, and they were throwing cans at them and everything. I said, Wayne Kramer done one great thing. He's going across the stage, he's playing, this can comes flying through the air, and he kicked it, and he kicked it out again, and he didn't break his stride. And I thought, this is a man, this is Wayne, fucking hell, they're brilliant, right? And I just see so much in what they were doing, that I dig so much. And afterwards, I saw Wayne Kramer sitting there. He was pretty dejected because they had a bad time out there. And I went up to him and I said, oh man, I said, it's fantastic, I just thought you were really, really great. And he said to me, he thought, if they'd have had another 20 minutes, they could have won the audience over. I said, no, you couldn't, they're Teddy Boys. And I started telling him all about Teddy Boys, and explained to him that, you know, you're a bad scene. Now then, you can get a DVD of the story of the MC5, I forgot what it's called in a minute, but it's worth getting, right? And what it is, it's Wayne Kramer driving around Detroit telling the story of the MC5. And it's quite sad actually, some of it, but when it gets towards the end, there's a bit where he's talking about when they came to England, this is right at the end of their careers, and they played at Wembley Stadium, right? And he's you know, really very, very bad for them, and he's going, oh yeah, and there are these things called Teddy Boys, and he gave my exact speech, and I told you that, man, about the Teddy Boy, yeah, but I come away from this gig. Yes, I think I decided to go for it. I did Dr. Feelgood. We broke up after a while, and then all this stuff is in this book. Well, I've forgotten about this book. Right? Some of it's in the book. There's also my kind of reflections on say about astronomy. You can find out about astronomy in this book, right? Astronomy. Geography.
Don't talk about all.
What? Anyway, now where was I? Dr. Feelgood broke up. We had a terrible argument, and that's really all that matters about it. I mean, a very, very good band, and I think we did influence a lot of the punk people. I started to meet these people after I've been thrown out of Dr. Feelgood. I met the Pistols and the Clash, and in fact, on this place in West Hampstead, but that used to be a bit of a crash pad. You know, you get up in the morning and trip over Billy Idol. You don't know where you went to the Vortex or not. I had a great time with Ian during the blockades. Ian mental as anything, but it's a completely other story, right? And then we went on, and then I did loads and loads of gigs, and then I ended up here talking about this book. I want to bring where's my people? You see, one of the reasons I joined Ian Jury actually was because I wanted to steal his bass player, and it took me 20 years, but here he comes now. This is what, right?